You are source energy beings here in this physical body. You were source energy first, but even though a part of your consciousness is now fully focused into the personality that you know as you, there is a larger part of you who still remains non-physically focused. It's easier for you to accept that that part of you is a vibrational part of you because you have not figured out how to translate the non-physical into what you can see and hear and smell and taste and touch for the most part. So non-physical, it's easy for you once you accept that there is something, and how could you not? How could you look at your magnificent planet spinning in perfect proximity to other planets? Sun coming up every morning, food remaining constant on your planet. How could you not know there is something bigger than what's going on here on your planet? You're brilliant and you're magnificent, but you have not figured out how to scrape enough dirt together and launch another planet into orbit. It doesn't happen from your physical perspective. There is a bigger picture, and many of you accept it. You call it many different things. We call it source, but it is vibration. And it's easier for you to accept the source as vibration than it is in many cases to accept yourself as vibration. But we want to remind you that you are an extension of the vibration that is source, and you are primarily vibration also. So when you begin to ponder the notion that there is a non-physical vibrational part of you that is emanating a signal at all times, and here you are in your physical body, and if you are wisely wanting to feel good, you are finding vibrational resonance with that signal of source. Now you've got it all figured out. Now you've got life really going on. Because that means you accept that you are an extension of source energy, and that source energy is offering you constant, steady, pure, supreme, absolute, specific guidance. Guidance to you about where you are right here and now, in your thought, in your word, in your deed. So when you realize that you're getting this constant feedback in the form of emotion, and that the better you feel, the more aligned you are with source, and the worse you feel, the more out of alignment you are with source. We call it allowing of alignment, or resisting of alignment. When you are allowing this resonating blending of who you are with who you really are, you feel wonderful. And it's what all of you intended. You said, I'll go forth and I'll explore and I'll come to new conclusions about what I want. But as soon as I decide what it is I want, I will give my undivided attention to that signal that is being transmitted eternally from the source within me, and I will blend myself, feel myself, merge myself, align myself, not just with the source of who I am, but with all that source of who I am has become because of what I'm living here in this physical experience. When someone's rude to you, you ask for a nicer world, and the source within you knows it and bees it. When you're rude to someone, you ask for you to be nicer in the world, and the source within you knows it and bees it. When you're sick, the source within you becomes vibrationally weller than the source within you was before you got sick. In other words, every experience causes an expansion. So every emotion that you feel, no exception, is about whether you are keeping up with your expansion or not. There are a lot of people running around this physical planet who are ornerier than anything else. They are just overwhelmed and ornery, worried, fearful, fitful, not feeling all that good about where they are or about the way life is treating them. And we would like them to know that those fitful, ornery, worrisome feelings are simply their emotional guidance system letting them know that they have an opinion of their life, an opinion of their planet, an opinion of something that is not in sync with the opinion that the source within them has about the same thing. So many of our physical friends, when they hear us say something like that, say, well, the source within me must not be where I am, looking at what I'm looking at. Source within me must be oblivious to the reality of my current life experience. And we say, that would be correct. Because the source within you only holds focus upon what you have asked for. You see, in this vibrational frequency, where the better you feel, the higher the vibration, the worse you feel, the lower the vibration, when you know what you don't want, there's always a bounce to that wave. And by knowing really what you don't want, there's a really what you do want bounce to that wave. And that bounce to that wave is what Source captures and holds as the standard of who you have become. So every time your life causes you to bounce into a new and improved place, the Source within you becomes that and holds that as the standard which you now can feel your relationship to. That makes sense to you? So as you are realizing these few things, you were Source energy before you came into this body, and the larger part of you still remains Source energy even though you are in this body. And the larger part of you is eternally broadcasting a signal to you, specifically to you, to help you to know what your highest bounces have been, because the Source within you always takes the highest bounce. That's why you never need to worry that if you or anyone tunes to the frequency of the Source within you, that you will then become damaging to people or the world around you. It could not happen. You can't be in sync with that pure positive energy of Source, of that which is the quintessential love, a love that humans have not even come close to expressing or identifying. When you realize that you are in vibrational alignment with that Source energy, then we like to proclaim you in the vortex of attraction, in the vortex of creation, in the vortex where you are, for the time of your pure positive emotion, you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, you are up to speed, vibrationally up to speed with all that you have become. And it is the best moment in time that you can find. When you find a moment in time where you have focused yourself into alignment, and therefore there is no resistance present in your vibration, you are soaring with the full energy stream that creates worlds. And under those conditions, you feel clarity, you feel confident, you feel sure, you feel love, you feel passion and eagerness and vitality and enthusiasm for life. That's who you are. That's how you felt when you came, and that's how you'll feel as you leave, and that's how we think you deserve to feel. Now, we don't think you should have to croak in order to release resistance. You will. When you croak, you will we try to be as disrespectful as death as we can be, since there isn't any. But when you leave this physical body and withdraw your attention from things that you're thinking about here, you will become that highest bounce. You will become the fullness of all that you are. You will soar into the energy that is really who you are. But you don't have to have a physical death experience in order to do that. You just have to vibrationally, incrementally tune yourself to the frequency of all that you are.
What's my next step to having a lot of money?
Hopefully you'll marry someone really rich. Here's the thing. Are you getting it that the next step is always the same thing, get in the vortex? Are you getting it that it's not only the next step, it's the only step we've got? It was hardly worth $195, was it? It's all we've got. Just get in the vortex, because when you take the time to get into alignment, you become a cooperative component. All the cooperative components then begin to reveal themselves to you. So the what's the next step is a sort of outside the vortex question, isn't it? It's, what can I do? Where should I go? How will it come about? And we say, this is the thing that we know so powerfully, that we want to find a way of conveying to you so that you will begin to feel it too. But words don't teach. It's only life experience that teaches. So we'll just tell you what we know. All of the opportunities and interests and rendezvous points They're already there. You just have to get in there and stay there long enough that you become a translator into action of what is there. We're going to take this to a new place, so stay with us just for a little bit. The thing that you like about this action world, this tangible world, this manifested world, is that you can translate it visually and auditorily. So when you walk into a room, if there's someone there, you see them and you can observe them, you can take them in, you can acknowledge them, you can converse with them, you could touch them, you could even lick them if they would let you. In other words, you can don't do it unless you're sure you're both in the vortex. But there is a satisfying experience in the tactile tangibleness of this manifested world. And so when we talk about this vortex, this vibrational reality, we know it feels like, well, Abraham just wants us to go sit on a cloud somewhere, or it feels like we're trying to get you to distract yourself from reality and just be a feeling person. And while that is the first step, it is our promise to you that once you begin hanging around in this vibrational state of being, in alignment with who you are, your ability to see and hear and smell and taste and touch from inside the vortex becomes as tactile as this manifested world. And you begin living what we are calling real time, where the whole of you is experiencing this physical experience. It's not accurate for us to say that mostly physical is outside the vortex and mostly non-physical is inside the vortex, because it is absolutely possible to be physically focused and be predominantly in the vortex. And the younger you are, the more you know that possibility and the more you resent every moment that you're not. In other words, that's why you take it so hard when you're not, because you still have that cellular memory even that things are supposed to go well for you and that you're supposed to feel good. So what we're wanting to convince you of is that this vibrational state of being will become as vivid and as real and as touchable and hearable and seeable and smellable and tasteable as anything that you know in your physical manifested world. It will manifest. In other words, things do manifest in the vortex. That's what we're wanting to say to you. You can make things manifest. You can allow things to manifest. They're already in the vortex and they are not yet manifested because, they're not yet manifested because you're not yet there to translate them into the manifestation. That's what we've been meaning to say to you. So when you practice being in the vortex and you practice until it just feels good to be in there, then you begin translating through your physical senses into manifestation all of those wonderful things that you want, because you have trained yourself through meditation, through appreciation, through compliments, through scripting, through feeling good. You've trained yourself into the vibrational frequency of all of those cooperative components, and then you must awaken to them. They must reveal themselves to you. And other people watching you in your manifestations will not know how you've accomplished it. In other words, you're watching people living their manifested vortex all over the place, and to you it just looks like they were lucky or they were in the right place at the right time. You have no way of knowing what they accomplished or how they did it vibrationally. Sometimes they're just born into a family that thinks that way, so they think that way early on. But it is so much more delicious to be born into contrast and to feel your vortex full of wonderful stuff, and then to figure out how to get in there, and then to deliberately stay there so that you get to be there in the conscious discovery of each unfolding. Because you see, it's not about wanting something and snapping your fingers and there it is. That wouldn't be satisfying. The fun thing is to carve it out of contrast and put it there, and then mold yourself into alignment with it and feel yourself getting closer and closer to it, and then watch step by step all day long as the components that are cooperative to you begin to reveal themselves to you in a string of never-ending, always unfolding, delicious life experience. It just does not get any better than being physically focused and consciously understanding what creation is all about. Friends, we have taken this law of attraction discussion into a place it has never been before.